Good morning, all you lovely homesteaders and homesteaders in training. For those of you new to the channel, my name is Jess, and we're the Bear River Homestead. We are what we consider ourselves micro homesteaders. We don't have a whole lot of property, but we are trying to make do with what we do have, becoming as self-reliant as possible in our current situation. I know, guys, it's been forever since I've made a video, and I'm so sorry. But we have had a crazy busy spring and summer so far. Lots of changes going on, and that's actually what today's video is going to be about. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the changes and updates going on for us. Probably the biggest one to date has been we have actually moved. So all of this behind you is brand new, well, brand new to us. We moved back in May, and it was a really hard choice deciding to move, because we were, in a lot of ways, we were very happy where we were. Obviously, it wasn't our vast, sprawling homestead that we kind of, are dreaming of, but the property was big enough, to suit most of our needs, and it was right on the river, which out west, that is a huge thing because water is pretty scarce around here. But what it came down to was that it was just the house was too small. We were rapidly running out of room. We are a family of 7. For those of you that don't know us, we are a family of 7, and we homeschool as well. So we just ran out of places to shove stuff. The home that we were in was originally considered a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. And then we turned what was considered like a den or a sitting room into a 3rd bedroom, and then we wound up splitting the master bedroom in half, and it was by no means a huge bedroom to start with. The house was built in like the 1920s, 1930s, something like that, so it wasn't like a modern, what you think of as a master suite or anything. It was just a very modest sized room. So by the time we split the room, the only space we had in our side of the room was for our bed and our dresser. That was literally it. And even then you had to like turn sideways to make it between the bed and the dresser and everything. So we did that, and then, that was okay for a little while, but as the kids are getting older, and of course with homeschooling, we just had nowhere to store anything, and it seemed like we were perpetually cranky, just because we were always, tripping over each other, tripping over stuff. And it's not like we're, it's not like we have an overabundance of things. It's just, we had what any family raising children has, clothes and toys, and then all the homeschooling stuff on top of it. So we did consider adding on to the house we had, and in that process we discovered a few things about our home. First off, it was considered an original railroad house, and basically what that meant was when the railroad actually came through town, all of these little like shanty shack houses got thrown up by the railroad crew, with of course no concern for like building codes, if they even had them back then. So things were not done necessarily up to par. And for us, that meant that our foundation for our house was actually old railroad ties. And originally it was a 1-bedroom or a 1-room house. And then as subsequent owners, wanted to add on, they just kind of built onto each side because it was just square. So by the time we purchased it, after talking with several contractors and the city, they basically told us in order to expand out, we would actually have to wind up basically demolishing a room or a couple of rooms in order to do that efficiently, and it actually makes sense, which of course was not cost effective in the least. And then we couldn't build a second story above because of the foundation. It would not be able to support the weight. And so when you're talking about like lifting a house and putting a new foundation under it and everything, we would have spent more just on an addition, like a 2-bedroom addition, than we did on the entire property. So we decided it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to try and do that, to throw that much money into it, especially since the house overall was just not, it wasn't up to code. It would take a lot of money and time to bring it up to code. And because it wasn't like the house, we didn't want to, invest our resources that heavily into it. So then we kind of just started casually looking at houses on the market. And again, for those of you that are new to the channel, I live in Wyoming, which all of it except for maybe Cheyenne and Casper is considered rural. Such a hard word. So there's not, the housing market is pretty light. And because we have a lot of oil and gas industry, property values, property prices, I'll say, are just astronomical. That was probably something I was most shocked about when I moved from Tennessee to Wyoming, was the jump in property prices. Because I'm looking at, let's say a mobile home without a permanent foundation on 1 acre, easily $150,000 here. And not like a brand new nice one, but I mean like a 70s, 80s mobile home. I don't get it. And so we didn't have a whole lot of luck. So we kind of broadened our search out from the town that we had been living in. And we actually came across the house that we did decide to buy. It was originally built in 1914. It's considered a folk Victorian style. And that in and of itself kind of made my heart go pitter patter, because I love historic homes. And for this community, this house is actually pretty significant. It's really actually hard to find people that were born and raised here, that have been here a generation or two, that don't know this house, know somebody that's lived in it, knows the history about it, have pictures of it. It's crazy. So this house is very, very tied into the community. So when we bought it, it was kind of neat, because I know sometimes small towns, it can be hard to like make those introductions and really feel like you're becoming a part of the community. And when we bought this house, it's like everybody knew we're the people that bought, this house. So that's been kind of neat. Lots of people will come up and just talk to us about the house. And, I think that's made it considerably easier adjusting to a very small town. Our town now is, I think it's just over 2,000 people. It's tiny. It's such a tiny little place, but it's absolutely adorable. The house itself is great. It's got really great bones. It has been, overall really well taken care of. There's tons of updating. Like these walls, it's really hard to tell in the camera, I think. They're now kind of like a steel gray color, but this was bright green and the trim was bright yellow. I'll see if I can find a picture and put it up for you. So there's that kind of updating that needs to be done. Most of the original woodwork's still in the house, so that's probably going to be a project we're going to be working on. The hubby has already started to refinish one of the doors. All of the interior doors, with the exception of, I think, the bathroom downstairs, has all of the original 9-panel doors. So, I'm just kind of like, I love antiques, I love old houses, so this house definitely called to me. The property is a little bit smaller, but zoning in this town is pretty liberal, so we get to keep the chickens and the rabbits and of course the dogs. And we're going to be really creative with our gardening. We didn't put any in-ground beds in this year because we moved in May. The growing season here is very short, and we didn't want to try and get moved in, get ready for the new homeschool year, and try and dig up the garden and get it planted in time, because as far as we can tell, there really isn't, there wasn't like an original garden spot. So there's going to be a lot of amendments that have to happen and things like that. But hopefully next season, we will be digging up the entire front yard, and that's basically going to be our garden space. We're going to be planting an ornamental edible garden. So everything we're planting is completely edible, but it's going to look, you know, nice and pretty because it is the front yard. And we're going to be doing tons of vertical gardening, so I'm really excited to start posting videos on our new vertical gardening endeavors. We do have lots of containers. My front porch is completely covered in containers. We've got peppers and tomatoes, lots of herbs, kale, strawberries. Oh, and I will get a video of this for you, but we have 2 dwarf apricot trees that are actually in containers. They have sprouted out. They're doing wonderfully. I'm so excited. So it looks like we may be able to actually grow at least a few fruit trees in containers as well. So that's kind of the big update. We're still unpacking because that seems to take forever. But we also have all the other things going on. This is my busy time at work, so I feel like I'm at work more than I'm at home. And then we're also getting ready for the new homeschool season. So the unpacking is not going as quickly as I would like it to, but we're getting there. Other updates, the chickens, the rabbits, doing great. We had our first litter of rabbits, and they will be ready to butcher in 3 more weeks. So that's probably the only real update for the animals. They're doing great. We did have one of our Pyrenees did have another litter of pups. They are 7 weeks today. She had 9. One of them she like rolled over on. This, I have to say, is probably the best litter we've had to date. I am so happy with them. They're putting on weight fabulously, really good temperaments, lots of personalities in this mix. So funny. Some of them are definitely more people oriented, and some of them are more, nope, I just want to go out and work. But they're doing wonderfully, and they're almost ready to start finding their forever homes. If you hop over to our Facebook page, you can actually see some pictures of the new little bunch of fur balls. They're so adorable. And I've already kind of talked a little bit about this, but we are starting to gear up for the new homeschool year. Our oldest will be in 9th grade, so my stepson will be in 9th grade, and then my daughter is going into 4th, and then we have a 1st grader, and then the 2 littlest ones, we're doing like a hybrid preschool kindergarten curriculum. My youngest is turning 4 in September, and then the next one up is turning 5 at the end of the month. But my soon-to-be 5-year-old is autistic, and I don't know if I've talked about this on the channel or not, but he is autistic, and so he's not really where I would like him to be to start like an actual kindergarten curriculum. So I think we're just going to start easing into it to kind of help him adjust to the routine of, yep, we got to get up and we've got to, you know, get our breakfast done and chores done, and we're going to sit down and do schoolwork for a little while. So I think that what that's going to look like for us is going to be pretty short days for them, lots and lots of hands-on activities. He does like to color, so I'm hoping that by pulling in some coloring activities, we can kind of ease him into actually sitting and having to write and focus. I'm going to do a separate video on all of our curriculum that we're going to be using, because it looks like I'm already at 15 minutes. Sorry guys, there's just so much. There's so much going on. And I haven't done a video in months. I'm so sorry. I promise I'm going to start making more videos because I miss talking to y'all. But I will be doing a separate video on our curriculum choices for the year, homeschooling on a budget. I just had a great Dollar Tree homeschool supply haul that I'm so excited to show y'all. And I really think that's about it. I mean, we've just, with the move and everything, we haven't done as much, especially the gardening. You know, it absolutely killed me not to put a garden in this year, but I knew it wasn't realistic and I wasn't going to push it. So, but yeah, that's about it. So again, if you are new to the channel, please, please, please don't forget to subscribe. And then hit that little bell button as well so you get notifications when we do upload new videos. If you have any questions, thoughts, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. As I said, I am going to be doing a video here shortly about homeschooling, homeschooling multiple kids and homeschooling on one income. So if you especially have any questions related to those sorts of topics, feel free to leave them below and I will try to answer them in the next video. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Again, like, subscribe, hit the little bell button, and share it with anybody else that is considering homesteading. Have a great day. Happy homesteading.